This is what my app looked like before. And this is what it looks like now. I didn't redesign it, AI did, and it only took 30 seconds per screen. In my last video, I built a live houseworkers management app using Claude AI with zero coding experience. And it worked, but it looked like it was built by someone with no design experience. So this time, I wanted to test something different. Could I use AI to completely redesign the entire user interface without touching a single line of code myself? 3 AI tools, 10 app screens, 1 afternoon. Here's what actually happened. My app was built entirely with Claude, so the experiment needed a clear strategy. Step 1. Use ChatGPT to generate the starting prompt for Claude. Why I use ChatGPT for this? Because it's sharper at prompt engineering. Each AI has its strengths. The prompt is the most crucial starting point, and we, as non-technical people, might not be able to cover all the details, which an AI-generated prompt would. I described the full vision in rough terms. Claude has to build a strategy to redesign the app it created, using Google Stitch for new designs, and implement them in the live app, keeping all the existing architecture and functionality intact. ChatGPT produced an extremely detailed prompt for Claude, covering the app's current workflows, Google Stitch's context, handoff strategy, prevention rules, integration rules, everything. I took that prompt straight to Claude in the same conversation where I originally built the app, so it had full context. Claude then built the complete design strategy for Google Stitch. One master prompt, which would act as the guideline, keeping in mind the structure of the Claude-created app, and then the individual prompts to give for each of the 10 screens. But when I saw the first master prompt's output, something felt off. The color theme wasn't right. The app was built with green aesthetics, exactly what I wanted to move away from. So instead of trying to describe what I meant in words, I started sharing references. Real websites, designs I actually liked, and that's when it clicked. Claude rebuilt the entire design brief, color palette, typography rules, component guidelines, handoff requirements for all 10 screens. I even confirmed with Claude exactly how to input the prompts into Google Stitch to get the best results. That whole strategy phase took about 20 minutes. What came next took 30 seconds per screen. I'd never used Google Stitch before, but it was very beginner-friendly. I added the master prompt and let it generate the 10 screens as base, before going into screen-specific prompts. I was really impressed with this output itself. It matched my vision and was almost fully accurate. Now, this is all zero coding. I also explored a few features, and once I understood it, this is where things got interesting. I moved to the individual screens. First was worker login process, but I didn't just paste the brief as Claude suggested. I went one step further. I shared the actual live screenshots of each page from my live app, along with the URLs, so Stitch could see exactly what it was redesigning. This is where human effort pays off, to give real context and expectations. And then I hit generate. 30 seconds. That's how long it took to produce the newly designed screens, matching the expectations of the live app requirements. I went with the regenerated designs and not the base ones, because in our current app, we don't have the workers' photos feature. It is important to not go beyond what our app contains so as to not break any functionality, because here's the before and after. Then we got into the redesigning momentum. I went through all 10 screens one by one. Next was the worker dashboard screen. I added the individual prompt, URLs and screenshots. And it quickly generated the expected designs. However, I gave it the feedback to adjust language orientation and keep English as primary, which it adjusted and regenerated. Here's the before and after. For the employer dashboard screen, the regenerated design was missing the pending tasks summary section from the live app, which it incorporated after pointing it out. Here's the before and the new design. Then we designed the worker management section, which was actually accurate with the individual prompt. Here's the before and after for this screen. For the task management screen, the individual prompts generated design missed a key feature. The top button filters to categorize and view the tasks. Manual checks become necessary when building with AI. Here are the results. For the employer login screen, we actually went with the original master prompts design, as the individual prompt led to the creation of the concierge support feature, something which our app doesn't have. Here's the before and after comparison. Then we designed the employer sign-up screen, which is a two-part process, so both the screens were incorporated. These are the results. We designed the worker invite screen next. The feature to highlight the dedicated household's name was key. Here are the designs. The report screen took some edits, as it first missed the short summary feature under each worker based on their tasks, and then it was also missing the per day completion graph section, which we got added. Here are the design variations. Last was the settings screen we generated. Here are the before and after. Now we had all the designs, better than anything I could have come up with as a non-designer. What surprised me was how fast the feedback loop was. Give feedback, regenerate, done. Most tools make you feel like you're fighting them. This one felt like a conversation. Now here's where I hit the first real question. This is the part where I expected everything to break. Stitch had generated 10 beautiful screens. But how do I actually get this into my app's code? Claude had suggested a handoff structure, which would have taken tons of manual effort to input each section's requirements for each screen, one by one. Stitch gives you a lot of export options, which I explored, especially the zip folders and code exports. I asked Claude itself which one would actually work. I gave it all the 3 export options and asked it to analyze. Claude told me to download the zip, extract it, and replace 4 specific code files in VS Code. I believe this option saved us almost 2 hours of manual hard work. Claude first asked me to start with 2 screens designed zip folders, which I did, and then it generated 4 code files for me to replace in VS Code. If you've never opened VS Code before, I hadn't really either. This is what that looks like. It is basically storing all our code on which the app is running, and it is just compilation of files and subfolders. Claude created all this in our last video where we built the AI app. I did exactly what Claude instructed me to, went to the subfolders it laid and replaced the code files. Simple copy-paste. Then it asked me to run the commands one by one, which basically means to deploy the app with the new code files. Our app is hosted through a platform called Versal, which we set it up during app creation and where I check the deployment status. This whole handoff process, which I expected to take hours, took about 15 minutes. I deployed the first 2 screens, and it worked. Somehow, first try, and our changes were live. The remaining 8 screens followed the same process. Claude generated the code files with the new design code. We download or copy the files, go to the subfolders path it gave, replace the files, and then deploy. There were a couple of errors during deployment highlighted on Vercel. I shared them as it is with Claude, as I am non-technical and didn't know exactly what to resolve. Claude fixed them in about 2 minutes. It gave clear directions as to what file or part of the code to change in the subfolders. Then we moved to the last few screens, added the new code files, deployed them, and checked live for the changes to appear. And then it was done! 10 screens, completely redesigned, working flawlessly on the live hosted app. Here's what I actually learned from this. Building with AI is fast, we know that. But what is key is how much the quality of your input determines the quality of the output. The moment we go a step beyond, sharing real references, screenshots, URLs, errors, and expectations, the results go from generic to accurate. AI doesn't read your mind, but it reads your references and detailed prompts. The app that started as a functional but rough prototype now looks like something I'd actually be comfortable showing people. This channel will document many more AI experiments, possibilities, tools, automations, and results by a non-technical person. If that interests you, subscribe! And if you've tried building something with AI and hit a wall, let me know in the comments. That might be exactly what I test next.